Over 100 trillion symbiotic bacteria comprise the gut microbiota. Our human constitution exists at a ratio of 1:1 with bacterial colonies. This mosaic of bacteria is known as the microbiome. This is an integral part of the bidirectional pathways of communication between the gut and the brain. When you combine the visible organs plus the invisible microbiome, you get the complete human, which is essentially a giant pile of bacteria. Cutting-edge research technologies have shown we are not autologous, made up only of self. We are just beginning to understand what makes us who we are, and we are not alone in these bodies of ours. Here we see a beautiful representation of the bidirectional communication between the gut and the brain, and this is occurring at the epithelial level. What we see when we have chronic stress plus a poor diet is microbiome dysregulation, and this is really disruptive and terrible because it causes a breakdown of the gut epithelium, chronic inflammation, blood-brain barrier damage, neuroplasticity issues, altered neurotransmitter levels, neural behavioral and mood dysregulation, and it matters because the gut has over 500 million neurons, more serotonin receptors than the brain, and is responsible for producing a sea of neurotransmitters, including serotonin and dopamine. Gut bacteria make up 95% of all our serotonin. Happiness really does start in the gut. In accordance with Sigmund Freud's theory of the unconscious mind, so too does the gut-brain microbiome influence our emotions, cognition, and behavior through unconscious processes. Current studies highlight the debilitating feedback loop between GI disorders and psychopathology. According to the Journal of Clinical Gastroenterology, regional outbreaks of E. coli in the water supply lead to markedly increased rates of trauma and clinical depression in the general population. In another amazing study, the microbiota of depressed humans was transplanted into mentally stable rodents who soon expressed the exact same symptoms as their human donors. Inter-rodent fecal transplants swapped the gut bacteria of anxious mice with fearless mice. The timid mice became bold and gregarious, while the bold mice became timid. In another study, we see the brain scans of healthy women consuming a fermented milk product for 4 weeks, and it showed less emotional reactivity in regions of the brain that were responsible for emotional control and pain perception. It's time for a paradigm shift in how we treat mood and anxiety disorders. Novel interventions must take into account the bidirectionality of the gut-brain axis. And we can do this with a top-down approach using neuromodulation, with modalities such as cognitive therapy, neurofeedback, TMS, and mindfulness practices, and also through a bottom-up approach using something I call microbiome hacking, where we use pre- and probiotics, nutraceuticals, dietary focus, and last but not least, poop transplants. In summary, when you heal the gut, you tune your brain, and you change your life.